AI just crossed a benchmark experts said wouldn't fall this decade. Stanford's 2026 AI Index reports that Anthropic's Claude Opus and Google's Gemini Pro now top 50% on humanity's last exam, a test designed to be uncrackable for years. OpenAI's GPT 5.4 hit 83% on GDP VL, matching or beating human experts in financial modeling, legal drafting, and software engineering. Bulls say AI is now economically viable across white-collar work. Skeptics counter that benchmarks aren't the real world, and PwC found leading firms capture 3/4 of AI's gains, leaving most companies behind. The race isn't slowing down. If AI matches America's AI race may be lost on the power grid, not the model leaderboard. Morgan Stanley projects the U.S. will be 9 to 18 gigawatts short of electricity by 2027, driven entirely by AI data center construction. That's enough demand to power millions of homes, gone into chip farms. Microsoft is reopening a reactor at 3 Mile Island for AI workloads. Google and Amazon are signing decade-long nuclear power deals. Bulls say this is finally how clean energy scales. Bears warn the grid is being locked into AI customers, squeezing households and small businesses. Some analysts call it the most expensive infrastructure build in American history. Will AI build the grid of the future? OpenAI just raised $122 billion in a single round. Amazon, NVIDIA, and SoftBank led the deal, valuing the company at $852 billion. Combined with raises from Anthropic, xAI, and Waymo, 4 AI startups just topped all of 2024's global venture funding. Bulls say it proves frontier AI is now delivering real enterprise revenue. Skeptics point to a $3 trillion infrastructure bill still ahead. Morgan Stanley estimates 80% of that data center and power build-out hasn't even started. Sam Altman calls it the cost of building the next platform shift. Is this the AI? 20,000 tech jobs vanished this month. Meta announced 8,000 layoffs, about 10% of staff. Microsoft offered buyouts to 7% of U.S. workers. Snap cut 16% of its workforce. All 3 companies named the same reason. Artificial intelligence is doing the work. Meta's cuts hit trust and safety hardest, where AI moderation now matches humans on most content. Glassdoor's Tech Confidence Index just dropped 6.8 points in a year. CEOs say AI lets them ship faster with smaller teams. Workers say it's a labor crisis arriving years ahead of schedule. Over 96,000 tech employees have been laid off in 2026 already. Efficiency gain. ChatGPT can run on Amazon now. On April 27th, Microsoft and OpenAI announced the end of their exclusive AGI agreement. ChatGPT and OpenAI products can now be hosted on Amazon Web Services and Google Cloud for the first time. Microsoft stays the primary cloud partner and gets revenue share through 2030. OpenAI gains room to spend across all clouds, and it needs the room. It's chasing a $660 billion AI CapEx roadmap and missing its own user and revenue targets. Bulls say diversifying clouds protects OpenAI's future. Bears say if you can't hit revenue with one exclusive partner, you won't hit it with 3. Smart pivot. ChatGPT lost a third of its market. In a year, ChatGPT's share of AI web traffic dropped from 86.7% to 64.5%, according to Wall Street Journal data. Google's Gemini quadrupled, from 5.7 to 21.5%. The journal also reports OpenAI missed both revenue and user growth targets. Internal note: CFO Sarah Fryer warned colleagues the company may struggle to fund its data center compute commitments without faster growth. Markets reacted hard. NVIDIA fell 3.3%, AMD 5.5%, ARM 7.4%, and SoftBank dropped 10% in Tokyo. OpenAI pushed back, saying business is firing on all cylinders. Investors aren't buying it. The bigger question: Is the AI boom finally hitting a ceiling, or is this just one company losing ground to a faster competitor? Are you still using? Anthropic just blew past OpenAI. The Claude maker is in talks to raise $50 billion at a $900 billion valuation, possibly closing within 2 weeks. That number tops OpenAI's $852 billion post-money raise from earlier this year. 3 months ago, Anthropic was worth $380 billion. Today, its annual revenue run rate sits between $30 and $40 billion. Bull case. Coding tools and enterprise contracts are minting cash, and Amazon plus Google have already committed up to $65 billion combined. Bear case. This round more than doubles the valuation in a single quarter. Pure AI fever or rational repricing. This is likely Anthropic's final major private raise before an IPO. Big Tech's AI bill, $700 billion. That's Alphabet, Amazon, Meta, and Microsoft's projected data center spend for 2026. 2 years ago, the same four spent just $200 billion. Q1 alone, $130 billion gone. Bull case. A Deloitte survey says 80% of tech leaders are confident AI is paying off, and Google's earnings just proved it. Bear case. One Wall Street analyst warns of overbuild, infrastructure racing way ahead of demand. Each NVIDIA chip costs $40,000. Each cluster has hundreds of thousands. Some single data centers now use as much electricity as a small city. U.S. power grids are already showing the strain. 3 Apollo. China matched Claude. 1/10 the cost. On April 24th, DeepSeek dropped V4, Pro and Flash variants, both open source under the MIT license, free to download from Hugging Face. V4 Pro hits 80.6% on the SWE Bench coding benchmark, tying Claude Opus 4.7 and GPT 5.5 at 10 to 13 times lower cost per output token. Exactly 1 year after V1 first rattled Silicon Valley. Bull case. Open weights mean every developer worldwide gets frontier-tier AI, almost free. Bear case. Training models like this in China still depends on chip imports. The U.S. is restricting. The race for cheap intelligence just got faster. Robots will build the AI data centers. That's the bet behind Rose, SoftBank's new spin-out, eyeing a $100 billion U.S. IPO as soon as the second half of 2026. The plan? Deploy autonomous robots, anchored by SoftBank's recent ABB robotics buy, to slash data center construction timelines as labor shortages hit hard. Rose plugs straight into Stargate, the $500 billion SoftBank, OpenAI, and Oracle infrastructure project. Bull case. The AI build-out won't get done without automation. Cranes and welders are already running short. Bear case. $100 billion is a massive valuation for a company that hasn't proven its robots actually work at scale. Robot arms. After months of deadlock, Europe just wired Ukraine $106 billion. The EU package covers Ukraine's economy and military for 2 full years, ending a debate that paralyzed Brussels since winter. Backers say it's the only way Ukraine survives a 4th year of war without American troops on the ground. Skeptics, mostly Hungary and Slovakia, say it cements Europe as a permanent paymaster, while Russia hardens for a long fight. The money is partly tied to seized Russian assets, a move Moscow already calls economic theft. Volodymyr Zelensky says it gives Kyiv breathing room, but only if it arrives on time. Can Europe outlast Moscow's patience? Iran just grabbed 2 ships in Hormuz. On April 22nd, Iran's Revolutionary Guard seized the MSC Francesca and the Epaminondas in the Strait of Hormuz, hours after President Trump extended a U.S. ceasefire. The U.S. has been blockading Iran-bound shipping since April 13th. Iran says the seizures answer a violation of the ceasefire and protect its sovereignty. Washington calls it piracy threatening world energy trade. The strait carries roughly 20% of global oil. Tanker traffic is largely paused. Oil prices climbed Monday, and the S&P set a record despite the tension. Iran reportedly offered to reopen the strait if the U.S. lifts the blockade. That talk is on hold. Naval brinkmanship from 130 ships to 6. That's the Strait of Hormuz today. Normally over 130 vessels pass per day. This morning just 6 attempted the crossing. Why? Iran is blocking non-allied tankers, while a U.S.-led coalition stops ships leaving Iranian ports. Roughly a fifth of the world's oil moves through that strait. Brent crude jumped past $111 a barrel this week, the kind of spike that hits gas stations within days. Washington argues the blockade pressures Tehran toward a deal. Critics counter that it strangles global energy and punishes economies far from the conflict. Europe, India, Japan all import through Hormuz. Reuters reports just 1/5 of normal traffic this week. Whatever happens next, your fuel bill noticed first. How high will gas hit? UAE just walked out of OPEC. On Monday, the United Arab Emirates announced it's leaving the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, a 50-year alliance Saudi Arabia leads. UAE pumps 3 to 4% of global oil and wants to push output higher to meet what it calls long-term market demand. Reuters reports tensions had simmered for years over production quotas the UAE saw as too restrictive. Riyadh's allies frame the move as a betrayal at the worst possible moment, with the Strait of Hormuz already disrupted. Abu Dhabi calls it economic realism. Either way, OPEC's grip on global oil prices just cracked. The cartel's power came from speaking with one voice. That voice now has fewer members. Energy independent, charged. Attempted assassination of the president. Cole Thomas Allen, 31, a California teacher, charged the security checkpoint at the White House Correspondents' Dinner Saturday night. President Trump and senior officials were evacuated. An officer was hit. His ballistic vest absorbed the round. The Department of Justice charged Allen with attempting to assassinate the president, plus firearm offenses. His manifesto, sent to family before the attack, named senior officials as targets. Some commentators see a wave of political violence cutting across the political spectrum. Others warn against confusing one suspect's actions with broader movements. The case will be tried in federal court. How does political... After 6 months of silence, NewJeans just posted online. Fans are losing it. On April 21st, the group's official channel uploaded photos of member Hyane for her birthday, the first activity since the legal split from Hy-B. Days earlier, members were spotted in Copenhagen, fueling rumors. Optimists say a return is locked in, with K-pop's most streamed group rebuilding around new management. Skeptics warn the legal fight isn't over, and a return this messy could split the fan base. Their monthly listener count has held strong despite no new releases in over a year. Either way, May is shaping up to be K-pop's most loaded release month of 2026. Are NewJeans rewriting their comebacks? Taylor Swift is trademarking her voice. On Monday, she filed 3 trademarks, 2 voice phrases, "Hey, it's Taylor Swift," and "Hey, it's Taylor," plus her Eras Tour stage image. The reason? AI deepfakes. Non-consensual fake images targeting her went viral on X in early 2024, viewed tens of millions of times before takedowns. And during the 2024 election, AI-generated pictures falsely suggested she'd endorsed a presidential candidate. Variety reports trademark experts call this specifically designed for AI threats. Supporters say it's overdue, a legal weapon when copyright doesn't reach voice or likeness. Critics worry trademarking everyday phrases could chill parody and fan content. If a megastar needs this much protection, what about indie creators with no legal team? Should AI BigBang, 20 years, they're back. During Coachella's Sunday closing set on April 20th, Taeyang, G-Dragon, and Daesung announced a 20th anniversary world tour, kicking off this August, 2 decades after their 2006 debut. The trio hasn't done a full world tour together in years. Daesung called it not a comeback, a reset. G-Dragon left the crowd with 7 words. Do not miss out, stay tuned. Cities haven't been revealed yet, but Seoul will almost certainly open the run, with stops likely across North America, Japan, Europe, and Australia. 2 decades and several solo careers in, K-pop's original boy band is rewriting what musical longevity can really look like. The 2-hour marathon wall just fell. Kenya's Sebastian Sau ran 1 hour, 59 minutes, and 30 seconds at the London Marathon, the first sub-2-hour marathon ever in a record-eligible race. Sau's pace was 4:33 per mile for 26.2 straight miles. He smashed Kelvin Kiptum's old record by 65 seconds. 2 more runners, Yomif Kajelcha and Jacob Kiplimo, also broke the old world record that same day. Some call it sport's Roger Bannister moment. Others say credit belongs as much to Super Shoes, the Adizero Adios Pro Evo 3, as to the runners. World Athletics says the time counts. The shoe debate isn't going away. Real record or shoe tech? 47 million galaxies. One map. On April 28th, scientists released the largest, sharpest 3D map of the universe ever assembled. Over 47 million galaxies and quasars charted across more than 11 billion years of cosmic history. The data comes from the Dark Energy Spectroscopic Instrument in Arizona. The headline finding? Dark energy, the mysterious force pushing the universe apart, may not be constant. It might be weakening over time. If confirmed, that rewrites a pillar of modern cosmology, the same framework Einstein helped build. Some researchers urge caution. The signal is suggestive, not yet decisive. Either way, our picture of how the universe ends just got more interesting. About 70% of everything is dark energy, and we still barely know what it is. His wife was at work. He threw out 40 of her jars. She collects empty jars, each tied to a memory. Their kid broke one last week. He asked her to toss most. She refused. He did it anyway. Top comment hits the timing. Doing it while she's gone tells on you. Going nuclear means you wanted to win, not solve. Other side flips it. 40 empty jars on every surface isn't sentimental. That's hoarding. He kept the 2 with real memories. That's care. Third angle splits it. Both wrong. 40 jars is too many. But spouses don't get to erase each other's stuff alone. The real fight isn't whether the jars had to go. It's whether one bad talk lets you stop talking or owe round 2. What would you do? 1, he's the asshole. 2, she's hoarding. 3, both wrong.